Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. For basically the last quarter of last year, one of the big topics of conversation around AI was whether we were in a bubble. Now, we've talked extensively on this show about why it's important to separate the market conversation about whether we are in a bubble in terms of things like valuation and capitalization for AI companies from whether it's actually significant and meaningful technology that you need to be paying attention to. And yet still, these things are not disconnected. There will, for example, be impacts to the speed at which new, better AI comes to market if additional capital and financing for companies is no longer available. Now, so far in 2026, markets frankly just haven't had all that much time to worry about AI. Between Venezuela and Greenland and domestic unrest and future government shutdowns, let's just say that the risk-off dance card has been a little full. Yet, of course, this question about an AI bubble has never really gone away. In fact, part of what makes it such a potent conversation is that it is ultimately a debate. There is no way, at least in the short term, of knowing who is right and who is wrong. There is only the loudness with which either side can present evidence. Now, with all that as background, we got some of our first chance to see where markets are in a renewed version of that conversation as we got Meta and Microsoft earnings. Bloomberg host Caroline Hyde summed it up this way: Meta wins, Microsoft loses when it comes to after-hours market reaction to earnings. Both beat on earnings and revenue. Both yanked up CapEx. Both talked up the positive impact of AI spending. But investors found it hard to see the CapEx rewards for Microsoft given the slight slowdown in Azure growth rate versus the previous quarter. Zuckerberg and team did a better job at highlighting the strength of its AI investments are already bestowing on its recommendation system, its video impressions, and therefore its ad success, and 25% revenue growth. Zuckerberg also spoke excitedly about the coming year in terms of LLM improvements, meaning current systems are primitive compared to what will be possible soon. That's his quote. So that kicks us off with the high level, but let's dive in and go a little bit deeper. The theme of Meta's earnings call was full steam ahead on AI regardless of costs. Mark Zuckerberg painted a bold vision of what the next few years of Meta's AI product would look like. Now seen as one of the early, if not only, winners in AI wearables, Zuckerberg is doubling down on making Meta Ray-Bans the default options for portable AI. He told investors, "Billions of people wear glasses or contacts for vision correction, and I think that we're at a moment similar to when smartphones arrived, and it was clearly only a matter of time until all those flip phones became smartphones. It's hard to imagine a world in several years where most glasses that people wear aren't AI glasses." And while one could be forgiven for being a little bit concerned about hyperbole there, frankly, Meta's numbers sort of validate that vision. Sales have tripled over the past year, which Zuckerberg characterized as some of the fastest growing consumer electronics in history. Now, when it comes to AI models, Meta has so far failed to make contact with the consumer, but it's clear they hope to turn that around with their next generation. Zuckerberg basically characterized 2025 as a rebuilding year. And although he didn't make this comparison, Google's turnaround on AI of a couple years ago to now has to be on the forefront of investors' minds. Said Zuckerberg, "In 2025, we rebuilt the foundations of our AI program. Over the coming months, we're going to start shipping our new models and products, and I expect us to steadily push the frontier over the course of the new year." Unlike some of the other AI companies, for Zuckerberg, commerce is the clear focus. He talked, for example, about new agentic shopping tools that will allow people to find just the right set of products from the businesses in our catalog. Meta also aims to catch up on agents, which are, of course, dominating the enfranchised insider conversation as new products like Claudebot demonstrate just how far the technology can go. Zuckerberg said, "We're starting to see the promise of AI that understands our personal context, including our history, our interests, our content, and our relationships. A lot of what makes agents valuable is the unique context that they can see, and we believe that Meta will be able to provide a uniquely personal experience." Now, on top of all that chatter, the actual earnings were incredibly strong, giving Meta a solid base to pursue these bets. Meta delivered a year-over-year growth rate of 24%, which blew analyst estimates out of the water. And yet at the same time, the number that got the most attention was, of course, a massive increase in CapEx guidance. Meta said that they plan to increase spending on data centers to as much as $135 billion this year, around 20% higher than the median analyst forecast and almost double what they spent last year. They also announced a 40% rise in expenses, reflecting their huge salary commitments to their new AI research team. Now, Meta is generating around $60 billion in quarterly revenue at the moment, so these spending goals suggest reliance on debt funding. Still, Zuckerberg has said that the aim is to front-load CapEx and build as fast as possible to get back in the AI race. Rounding out his statement, Zuckerberg told investors, "This is going to be a big year for delivering personal superintelligence, accelerating our business, building infrastructure for the future, and shaping how our company will work going forward." Now, some had big critiques of Meta's apparent lack of a plan. One analyst asked Zuckerberg to sketch out his 3, 5, or 10-year plan for delivering ROI on all of the AI spending, and Zuckerberg kind of sidestepped the question. He responded, I have to say up front that I think my answers to a lot of your questions on this particular call may be somewhat unfulfilling because we're in this interesting period where we've been rebuilding our AI effort. We're 6 months into that and I'm happy with how it's going. But we are going to be rolling out our initial set of models and products and businesses around that, and I'll have a lot more to share on all those fronts at that point. He added, not much of this is going to be particularly detailed, but it will be exciting as we roll it out. Others honed in on Meta's new focus on debt financing. Kakashi on X wrote, Zuck has finished almost all of Meta's cash. Without the issuance of $30 billion in debt, Meta's cash, cash equivalents, and restricted cash equivalents would be less than $10 billion by the end of 2025. Prominent finance commenter Michael Green said the risk embedded here is astonishing. And yet, ultimately, it seemed that investors liked what they heard, with Meta shares rising 8% in after-hours trading overnight. The story from Microsoft earnings call was something of the inverse, where the perception was that too much caution had led them to miss out on AI opportunities. The headline figure, as we heard from Caroline at the beginning, was a continued drop in cloud growth. One could be forgiven for thinking that this slowdown doesn't seem to actually be that large of a problem. Azure revenues are still growing at a 38% pace, and the slowdown was only a single percentage point compared to the prior quarter. Azure is also a much larger division than it was a year ago, making hypergrowth more difficult to maintain. Still, we are in the middle of an AI infrastructure boom, and to some it seems like Microsoft is failing to take part to the fullest extent. Caution has come to define Microsoft's strategy over the past year. Last February, for example, there was a massive news cycle around Microsoft canceling numerous data center projects. CFO Amy Hood insisted that this was largely about forecasted softness in demand, and Microsoft didn't want to be left holding useless data centers if demand dropped off, given the long lead times to complete construction and power up GPUs. Compare that sort of framing to Zuckerberg, who has basically relentlessly said that the risk of overspending by hundreds of billions on infrastructure is dramatically less than the risk of underspending. In any case, when it comes to Microsoft, they're now faced with a different problem. They disclosed that their cloud sales backlog has more than doubled from a year ago to reach $625 billion. Much of that growth came from a new $250 billion commitment from OpenAI. In total, OpenAI now accounts for 45% of Microsoft's backlog. And so whereas Meta's stock jumped 8% overnight, Microsoft's stock fell by about 5% in after-hours trading. And indeed, going back to the theme of this episode, Bloomberg suggested this was fears of the AI bubble popping manifesting in the market. Yet to me, that doesn't really carry water. It seems more like Microsoft is being punished for failing to grow as fast as possible during this boom period. They have over $1 trillion worth of sales waiting in their backlog and slowing cloud growth. Rather than powering up GPUs then, Microsoft chose to miss out on sales. To the extent that there are bubble fears, they're almost entirely about OpenAI's ability to make good on their commitments. Jefferies analyst Brent Thill said, the backlog is really good, but the disclosure that OpenAI is 45% of their backlog, it goes back to the situation where, can OpenAI achieve these financial goals to pay Oracle, Microsoft, and many of the providers? Now, Microsoft does appear to be correcting their underbuilding issue, if ever so slightly. CapEx for the quarter came in at $37.5 billion, up 66% from a year ago and slightly above analyst expectations. They didn't adjust CapEx guidance, so it seems they won't be attempting to catch up in a major way. Of course, for investors, it's not as simple as just spending more on CapEx. Microsoft also disclosed an operating margin of 45.1%, falling short of the 45.5% consensus forecast. Not a huge miss, but spending more money on CapEx now will make operating margins worse in the short term due to the construction lag. Overall, CEO Satya Nadella doesn't seem too bothered by the state of play and is happy to play the long game. He told investors, we are only at the beginning phases of AI diffusion, and already Microsoft has built an AI business that is larger than some of our biggest franchises. We are pushing the frontier across our entire AI stack to drive new value for our customers and partners. He reiterated those themes in a thread on X, actually spending a bunch of time on agents. Nadella wrote, like in every platform shift, all software is being rewritten. A new app platform is born. You can think of agents as the new apps. We're providing everything customers need to build their own agents, including model catalogs, harnesses for orchestration, context engineering, plus AI safety and observability. The bottom line, he says, our TAM will grow substantially across every layer of the tech stack as this diffusion accelerates and spreads, and we feel very good about how we're delivering for our customers today and innovating to capture the opportunity ahead. My honest read here is that as much as some commentators are trying to make this just about CapEx spending, it's more about A, conversion on AI, and B, perception of strength in the AI race. Zuckerberg advised a way bigger CapEx jump than Microsoft did and got rewarded by traders. That means that this can't be about CapEx alone. But as we heard, the story with Meta was a big increase in the ad business, i.e. a conversion on AI spend, and tailwinds in the AI race because while their models haven't kept up with others, they do have a thing that they are the undisputed leader of in this AI race, which is, of course, the Ray-Bans and AI wearables. Compare that with the theme explored by Bloomberg columnist Dave Lee, in his piece published on Thursday morning called "Microsoft Has Lost Its AI Sparkle." Dave writes, "Who could forget those heady days when Microsoft Chief Executive Officer Satya Nadella looked like the smartest man in tech? When ChatGPT emerged in late 2022, his decision to back OpenAI put Nadella's company at the forefront of the AI boom. More recently, the relationship has cooled, and with it, the perceived value of Nadella's foresight. Microsoft is now invested in Anthropic and looked to incorporate its capabilities into its products. And OpenAI, hungry for computing power, has turned to Oracle, Google, and Amazon. All of this AI polyamory has put Microsoft's eggs in a few more baskets, but it has also highlighted that Microsoft's early mover advantage has run its course. The AI sparkle that illuminated the market value, that more than doubled, has diminished. The thorny issue of ROI is stalking all the top AI players, but the pressure has mounted on Nadella because of the shifting narrative of the AI industry. The AI story of 2026 so far is one that says Google, with its Gemini model, is crushing it with consumer use cases and benefiting from the availability and lower cost of its own chips. At the same time, Anthropic's coding capabilities are at the leading edge of redefining software engineering. Whatever the reason, with its huge base of enterprise users and ownership of the coding mega platform GitHub, Microsoft stands accused of letting its advantages dwindle. Now, Dave does end on a positive note, reminding us all that Microsoft's critics today were Google's critics yesterday, but pointing out that Microsoft has to do something to shift the narrative back in its favor. Now, one more market story to really round things out and let us know where we stand. We also got earnings reports from South Korean memory giants Samsung and SK Hynix. If you've been keeping an eye on RAM prices recently, you probably already know how this went. Samsung reported that profits had doubled from this time last year, reaching $13.7 billion. This was a 61% increase from the previous quarter, vastly outpaced already lofty analyst estimates. Stripping out just the memory division, profits were up fivefold year over year. Samsung said that they would, quote, proactively address market demand by focusing on high value-added products. In other words, they will prioritize high bandwidth memory for AI chips and make as much money as they possibly can. The story was similar for SK Hynix, who doubled operating profit to $13.5 billion. Again, a massive beat on estimates. Numerous comments from analysts noted that the current memory shortage isn't likely to see relief anytime soon. Richard Clode of Janus Henderson said, "There are no easy wins and levers from a supply perspective to meet this new demand driver." Compared to consumer electronics companies, he added, hyperscalers and AI customers are looking at what they are willing to pay for memory through a very different lens. Now, both memory companies are keeping CapEx relatively restrained. Samsung reported that their CapEx had actually declined slightly in 2025, commenting that they are maintaining a conservative investment approach. They did state they expect to ramp up investments this year, but declined to give full guidance. SK held their guidance steady at around 30% of revenue. However, increase in revenue means they'll be spending quite a bit more, but they don't seem to be looking to stand up extra capacity in any great hurry and risk overbuilding. Citigroup analysts expect the cost of DRAM to rise by 120% this year and NAND chips to increase by 90%, so no one is expecting the shortage to be rectified in the short term. Remarking on the nature of tech spending in this cycle, Sanjeev Rana, the head of research at CLSA Securities Korea, commented, "The companies are spending real money on real stuff. We're in uncharted territory in terms of valuations, share prices, the demand cycle. Everything is unprecedented." Overall, from this first glance at what the bubble narrative might be in 2026, it feels like the big takeaway from this early round of tech earnings is that there is still pretty much a full-on gold rush in AI. Yes, bubble fears are present, and yes, we're seeing how markets are going to want to see translation of AI spending into something resembling increased growth, either in cloud business or in ad sales when it comes to Meta. But the market seems to be rewarding firms not only for taking part in the boom, but for where their place in the narrative is. So that's the story from here, and that's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching as always, and until next time, peace.